On World News Tonight this Monday, U.S. warplanes at the ready for NATO airstrikes on Serbia. Will a last-ditch attempt at diplomacy work? The Washington budget battle, $1 billion going to military projects the Pentagon doesn't want. Guess who does? It's your money. The murder of a gay student in Wyoming, a campus with a lot of questions. And America, the HMO nation. Is managed care better care? We'll take a closer look.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Sitting in tonight, Charles Gibson.
Good evening. The question tonight, are U.S. warplanes about to strike in Europe? In Brussels today, the United States and its NATO allies have been preparing for a vote on whether to authorize military strikes against the Serbs. Over the last several months, Serbia has been cracking down on ethnic Albanians in the Kosovo region of the former Yugoslavia. Hundreds have been killed. More than 250,000 have been forced to flee their homes. But so far, diplomacy has not deterred the Serbs. Will it now? ABC's John McWethy is at the Pentagon. John?
Charlie, tonight U.S. officials say a deal to end this crisis may be within reach, but NATO is expected to take a step closer to airstrikes anyway, trying to reassure themselves that Slobodan Milosevic, the leader of Serbia, will not reverse himself.
It's a negotiating tactic that gives Special Envoy Richard Holbrooke, who arrived in Brussels tonight to brief NATO, maximum leverage as he presses Milosevic on the final details. Holbrooke has had 50 hours of tough negotiations with Milosevic, who only began to bend when the threats by NATO began to look real. Across Europe today, combat aircraft from NATO continue to move into position. F-18s from Canada and Spain, F-15s from the U.S.
We are ready right now. If called upon, political authority said it's necessary to do this.
In Belgrade, with tension mounting, Western diplomats and their families rushed to get out of the country. In Kosovo, many relief workers who had been helping to feed the 250,000 refugees were abandoning their positions and heading for safer territory. One positive sign, more Serb police were leaving Kosovo as demanded by the West. But to avoid airstrikes, many other conditions must also be met, and U.S. sources say Milosevic has now agreed to most of them. Immediate peace talks between the Serbs and the ethnic Albanians they rule, a force of 2,000 international monitors in Kosovo to make sure all sides are living up to the agreement, cooperation with the UN War Crimes Tribunal to investigate massacres, and full access to Kosovo by relief workers.
The U.S. is also insisting on overflights of Kosovo by NATO spy planes, and they are making the Serbs promise not to turn on the radar of their missile batteries. It is one of many conditions, if violated, could still cause an immediate military response by NATO. Charlie?
All right, John McWethy at the Pentagon. In Washington today, America is still without a budget. White House Chief of Staff Erskine Bowles and his deputy John Podesta were on Capitol Hill trying, yet again, to hammer out a deal with Republican leaders in Congress. It could still be days away. In the meantime, Congress has passed a measure to keep the government open 2 more days while they negotiate. It is worth noting that these budget debates are about how the government spends your money, which sometimes is in short supply. But somehow there always seems to be enough for the pet projects of powerful politicians, especially military projects. Here's ABC's John Martin.
The yeas are 369, the nays 43.
When Congress passed the defense budget, Speaker Newt Gingrich blamed President Clinton for failing to ask for enough money to keep the military strong.
The president can talk about Kosovo or Bosnia or Iraq or Korea. But the fact is we have to pay for and strengthen a military force capable of backing up those speeches.
Gingrich was so concerned he decided to give the Pentagon things it didn't want. This bill he is signing contains $464 million to build 7 C-130 cargo planes. They just happen to be built in his hometown of Marietta, Georgia, and that's 6 more than the Pentagon asked for.
Mr. Gingrich wouldn't talk to us about the planes, but this isn't the first time the Pentagon has been ordered to take something. In fact, there's even money in the budget this year for a helicopter carrier it didn't ask for. But getting back to those planes.
not only are the aircraft added, but the support equipment and the spares, initial spares package for them are not. And then we cannot put them where we want to. We are told where to put them.
One place they are being told to put one new plane is Mississippi, the home of Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott.
The Pentagon's been complaining that you and Mr. Gingrich have loaded up the budget with C-130s. They've already got 50 more than they need. They're having readiness problems, and they think you're putting the money in the wrong place.
They don't build C-130s in my district, so...
They're going to give you
one airplane. Hey, you know, give me a break.
The senator says his state's one new plane will track hurricanes. In fact, there are 10 new planes due for delivery here. The Air Force did not ask for them either, but the money was put in the budget over the last 5 years. They will replace 10 planes, which the Air Force says still have 5 to 10 years of flying time left in them.
I don't think that we ought to be spending $400 million for what is essentially a pork project for the Speaker and for the people who get the airplanes.
Since 1994, Congress has ordered 20 C-130s the Pentagon did not ask for, at a cost of $1 billion. It's your money. John Martin, ABC News, Washington.
More news still ahead tonight, asking why in Wyoming, the murder of a gay student and how it should be prosecuted. And later, school spirit in Seattle, giving back to the former general now involved in a very personal battle.
World News Tonight with Peter Jennings and It's Your Money are brought to you by T. Rowe Price.
Yeah, it was amazing. Whole different world. You were a volunteer? Yeah. I saw a world that wasn't so fortunate. They needed help. In business, I see a world full of opportunity. To help me take advantage of those opportunities, I invest in international funds with T. Rowe Price. I chose them because they work with analysts all over the world. See, I know what a difference being there can actually make.
T. Rowe Price, helping people invest with confidence for over 50 years.
At Uniroyal, in order to make a point about our new nail guard tires, we added a few to our test track. Nail guard tires, designed to seal 90% of tread punctures, instantly and permanently. Only from Uniroyal.
Enterprise? Hi, I'm at the repair shop. I need to rent a car.
Enterprise will arrange to pick you up,
This is great.
drive you to our place, and get you on your way. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Max is a mighty dog. That's why he gets new Mighty Dog carved beef and gravy. Tender slices and savory gravy to give Max all the energy he needs. New Mighty Dog carved beef and carved beef with pasta. Mighty Dog from Friskies.
Matt Shepard, the gay college student savagely beaten last week in Wyoming, died this morning. He had been tied to a fence, pistol whipped, and left to die. 2 suspects will be charged with the murder. President Clinton today condemned the attack and said Congress should pass hate crime legislation. But as ABC's Lisa Salters reports, in Wyoming, there are questions about what should be done.
On the University of Wyoming campus, where Matthew Shepard was a freshman, students are wearing yellow ribbons today.
In remembrance of Matthew.
This guy sat next to some of you in class last week. And this morning, he died.
In Shepard's Monday morning political science class, his classmates spoke about what happened.
Whether or not he was, whatever, he got killed.
Some fought back tears.
I mean, he pleaded for his life, and that in itself tells you that he was a human being, not just some gay person that deserved to die.
Others said they know hate exists because they've heard it.
People saying that if he was gay, then it should have happened because they shouldn't, quote unquote, allow gays in Wyoming.
Shepard's death has ignited nationwide debate on the issue of hate crime legislation. Wyoming is one of 10 states that does not have a hate crime law, and the governor says he's still not convinced the state needs one.
We shouldn't be running off as a lynch mob might, trying to look for vigilante justice, because that would be just as wrong as the act that we deplore already.
2 of the suspects arrested will now be charged with first-degree murder. Their girlfriends charged as accessories. Shepard remained connected to a ventilator until he died. His parents were spared the painful decision of removing him from life support.
They said that, like the good, caring son that he was, he was able to remove from them the guilt or stress of having to make that decision.
A decision no parent should ever have to make. Lisa Salters, ABC News, Laramie, Wyoming.
Tomorrow, the FBI begins a new era of cooperation and computer technology. It's opening the new National DNA Index to officers in all 50 states. The index has DNA profiles of 250,000 convicted felons. Local officers can now compare those profiles to DNA evidence collected at crime scenes. In Sweden today, the Nobel Prize for Medicine has been awarded to 3 American scientists. Robert Furchtgott, Louis Ignarro, and Farid Murad were recognized for discovering that the body uses the gas nitric oxide to regulate blood pressure and blood flow. That finding led to the development of the impotence pill Viagra and has applications for treating heart disease, maybe even cancer. When we come back, a plan to fix the banks before more of Japan hits rock bottom.
It's no mystery why millions of people have moved to the digital home entertainment of DirecTV. Because DirecTV gives them more movies, sports, and a variety of programming they just can't get from cable. So what are you looking at? If it's not DirecTV, see your retailer for a demo today.
You're not taking that laxative. Ring. It's got stimulants that may cause cramping. Says who? Says on the label. Don't you know nothing's better than Phillips Milk of Magnesia?
All these overnight laxatives have stimulants that may cause cramping. Phillips doesn't. It's the only one that's stimulant-free.
And you know Phillips.
She never takes a vacation. Phillips, effective relief without harsh stimulants. And also try convenient liquid gels.
When the night has come and the land is dark,
LeSabre is built to help keep you safe, secure, and comfortable.
no, I won't.
And now you can feel even more comfortable. During Buick's Fall Collection event, receive $2,000 cash back on America's best-selling full-size car. LeSabre by Buick.
For the 14 million women who worry about light to moderate bladder control, now there's new Double Protection Compose Panty and Pad System. The Compose Panty and Pad fit together for double protection. There's a super absorbent disposable pad, but the real difference is the separate washable panty. It gives you double protection with a quilted panel that won't let wetness through. So why worry? Get double protection with Double Protection Compose. Protection that goes beyond the pad.
On the money tonight, triple-digit gains on Wall Street. The Dow rose almost 102 points, inching above the 8,000 mark once again. The Nasdaq picked up 53 points to close at 1546. Investors rode the wave of good news from Chrysler. Earnings surged 55% in the third quarter, well ahead of Wall Street predictions. Sales of new models helped drive the increase, and the U.S. market was also spurred by news in Japan. Tokyo stocks rose 5.25% upon news of banking reform. Japan passed laws today aimed at regulating troubled banks and investing tax money to keep banks lending. Cleaning up Japan's banking system is critical to turning around the global economic slowdown. ABC's Mark Litke has been to the northernmost island of Hokkaido, where it's possible to see what could happen all over Japan if the banks aren't fixed soon.
With its beautiful countryside and comfortable lifestyle, the island of Hokkaido was often rated the best place to live in Japan. Then came the banking crisis.
1 year ago, this bank, the Hokkaido Takshoku Bank, the biggest in the region, collapsed under a mountain of debt. From loan defaults, risky investments, and mismanagement. The failure set off a financial chain reaction that has turned Hokkaido into an economic basket case.
Local journalist Shigehiro Saito gave us a tour of the carnage. First, hundreds of small businesses that depended on the Takshoku Bank for loans were forced into bankruptcy. Others fear they'll be next. There are few customers and no other banks willing to support them through the hard times. Construction, once the biggest employer in the region, has almost ground to a halt. Banks had fueled a decade of real estate speculation here, but massive overbuilding left banks holding billions of dollars in unrecoverable loans. Takshoku Bank held half of them. Next to go, the key tourism industry. The countryside today is dotted with empty hotels and failed luxury resorts. Rural communities that counted on tourists are now ghost towns. In the past year, tens of thousands have lost their jobs in Hokkaido, and shell-shocked government officials say it'll get worse before it gets better. Journalist Saito says people here know there's no more time to waste in fixing Japan's troubled banks. The longer it takes, he says, the more the rest of Japan will look and feel like Hokkaido, and he should know. Saito's own newspaper just went belly up, and he has joined the ranks of the unemployed. Mark Litke, ABC News, Hokkaido.
Up next, HMOs, serving more people than ever, but for better or for worse. We'll take a closer look.
Surprise you, so be ready with Scope. Nothing kills more bad breath germs. Its minty tingle gets breath Scope clean and fresh. Scope. Feel the tingle.
I'm 64. Is there anything I can do to stop bone loss?
Absolutely. Here's proof. In a landmark clinical study, Caltrate actually stopped bone loss in women at risk for osteoporosis, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
Life's an adventure because you're over 50 and still exploring. So take the Centrum made just for you, Centrum Silver, with age-essential nutrients specially adjusted to keep pace with your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
Buy a set of 4 selected Goodyear tires before November 28th and get a $50 or $100 U.S. savings bond. For the retailer nearest you, call 1-800-GOODYEAR.
Whoa, remember this place and those midnight snacks?
Hi, guys.
Indeed.
Let's have 2 dogs with the works.
Hey, I can't have one of those now.
Watching your figure?
No, I didn't take my Pepsid AC and it's too late now.
Didn't take your Pepsid? Take my Tagamet. You can eat now.
Tagamet introduces a better way to avoid heartburn. Not an hour before like Pepsid says. Now. Now you can take Tagamet right when you're going to eat and still prevent heartburn.
Mindy?
You two, back again?
Mindy! With Tagamet, you can eat like a kid again.
This week, we're going to take a closer look at managed health care. 150 million Americans are in managed care. We are now the HMO nation. But are we better off? Has managed care delivered on the promise of improving health care while driving the costs down? Just look at how managed health care has grown since the mid-'80s, compared with the old system where you could go to any doctor and then submit the bill to your insurance company. Along the way, the nation has been terrified by the change. We've all heard the HMO horror stories. We in the media tell them all the time. Yet according to the most recent polls, 80% of us are satisfied with the care we are receiving today.
I've not had a problem seeing a doctor when I needed to see a doctor. I feel the quality of care is very good. If there has been a physician that I have not liked, they've been very helpful in letting me switch to someone else.
600,000 doctors work in 6,000 hospitals in America, and the simplest explanation of managed care is that it links many of those doctors and hospitals into a more efficient system. The patient is a cost unit. Cost and care are administered by insurance companies.
It's made us better because we have recognized now the value of standardizing our care, measuring outcomes, and being responsible for our outcomes.
Still, there are sacrifices.
As managed care has occupied a higher percentage of my time, the amount of time I spend with patients has probably decreased proportionally.
As one's coming in and one's going out, sometimes you sort of feel like you're working a little on an assembly line.
As America has become an HMO nation, there have been significant savings. Insurance companies have cut premium costs for corporations to win new customers, to get market share in a competitive environment. But that can't obscure the fact that the cost of medical care itself continues to rise. America's annual health bill in 10 years will be $2 trillion, twice what it is now. Raising the question, when costs and premiums do go up, will America be so satisfied with managed care? There is one group of people that is particularly satisfied with managed care, more than satisfied actually. We're talking about people on Medicaid, the government program to provide health insurance for people on welfare. About 20 million Americans on Medicaid now receive their health care through managed care. Here's ABC's George Strait.
It is difficult to find critics of managed care at this clinic.
I take care of all the needs for my children right here.
I have nothing to really worry about because I have my doctors here.
Surveys show people who have the least, the poor, like managed care the most. Here's an example. In the Bronx, New York, immunizations are up 20% since 1994, and the number of low birth weight babies has fallen below the state average.
In middle-class America, the move to managed care has mainly been driven by cost. It's different when we talk about serving poor people. We saw managed care as the way to improve care.
Across the country, there are 349 companies managing the care of about half of the people on Medicaid, the government's health program for welfare recipients. Managed care has given millions of people more access and more choice than they have ever had.
I had it. What times was it 6?
Anna Rios and her daughters suffer from chronic asthma and migraines. Before joining an HMO, they were constantly in a hospital emergency room for medical care.
Take a deep breath.
Anna says HMOs opened her eyes to what good medical care could be, particularly for her children.
They looked over this child with a fine-tooth comb. As a mother, I said, this doctor cares. You know, it like blew my mind away because nobody had ever given any of my children that kind of physical.
Providing quality care for people unfamiliar with the healthcare system takes extra effort. For instance, visiting nurses have to go to homes to teach preventive care.
When we're in the green zone, we're getting better. Right. So maybe we're doing what is right.
But all of this is very expensive. Many states who pay most of the bills have begun cutting back on what they will spend to treat the poor. This has prompted dozens of managed care companies to pull out. This HMO alone said half of its losses were attributable to only 5% of its clients, those on Medicaid. If this trend continues, the gains in health care achieved by Anna, her family, and millions of other poor Americans will now be at serious risk. George Strait, ABC News, New York.
Tomorrow we'll take a closer look at managed care and the elderly. Are they being left behind? And all this week you can find a slew of information on managed care on our website, abcnews.com, on the internet, or America Online. When we come back, a general's personal fight in Seattle and how his troops are right there with him.
Savor the summer. Live Maine lobster, specially priced at $14.99. A warm reminder that at Red Lobster, the season isn't over.
We asked elementary school teachers to try Motrin IB instead of Advil.
This is the place for headaches.
I got a real whopper of a headache right now.
We thought this would be the perfect place to try Motrin IB.
I get aches and pains all day long.
Nothing, not even Advil, has been proven to work better than Motrin IB.
Okay.
Doctors have prescribed the medicine in Motrin IB more than any other pain reliever.
My headache is gone.
Feel better. Beautiful.
Now it's Motrin IB, spoken here.
I could teach another 20 years this stuff. Maybe not.
Excuse me, I just need to get my bag. Excuse me. Excuse me.
It's more than a car. It's a state of mind.
The Accord from Honda.
ABC Tuesday. Brad's fear of going to college has him looking for an easy way out.
Don't you ever worry about messing up? Have you ever seen Tool Time?
Then, America knows a hit comedy when they see it.
You must be Michael and Sydney's dad. How do you know that? Well...
The Hughleys right after Home Improvement, ABC Tuesday.
Finally tonight, a lesson in leadership. In most cities, no one knows who the school superintendent is unless something goes wrong. That's not true in Seattle. Things have been going right, and the superintendent, John Stanford, has received much of the credit. But now things have gone wrong for him. He has leukemia. Here's ABC's Judy Muller.
Wherever John Stanford goes, he's treated like a hero. The retired Army general, hired just 3 years ago, is credited with taking an ailing school system and, against overwhelming odds, making it well again. Now Stanford is the one who is ailing. After 2 rounds of chemotherapy and a bone marrow transplant, he too faces overwhelming odds.
Never give up, never give up, never give up.
Superintendents are usually distant bureaucrats as far as kids are concerned. Not here.
How many people here know who John Stanford is? Let me see your hands.
By now, they all know the story, how the general with no educational background was hired to shake things up.
I will fight for those children till hell freezes over. And when hell freezes over, I will fight on the ice.
Students must now pass exit exams to be promoted. Troublemakers are expelled. Test scores are up, violence down. And private corporations are donating millions of dollars to the public schools.
I have never in my life met anyone who could galvanize a city the way he has.
And now the city is trying to give something back. Citizens have raised more than $500,000 for a book fund in Stanford's name. One group of students raised money with a 2,000-mile bike trip.
It's like, man, if he's struggling, do I make excuses for myself?
He doesn't just sit behind his desk and tell people to do other stuff. He goes out and actually does it.
Holy mackerel.
And he's still doing his job, even if not at full speed. He's aware that the kids are watching.
If I gave up and I didn't use every option available to me, they would know it. And there it is. Their leader gave up. Why should we try?
Not to worry. Surrender is not in the man's vocabulary.
I am not going to let cancer control my life. I mean, it's not something I'm going to sit around and think about every day.
After all, says Stanford, he still has all those kids to think about. Judy Muller, ABC News, Seattle.
And that is our report on World News Tonight. Later on Nightline, more on Kosovo and the possibility of military action. I'm Charles Gibson. For all of us at ABC News, good night.
Is managed health care abandoning the elderly? Some HMOs say they can't afford it. If they don't cover the elderly, who will? Watch World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
Miami meets Jacksonville for the first time. The game takes one night. The bragging rights are forever. Tonight at 8 on ABC.
This is News 2 at 6.
Oh, that feels good. I'm flattered that we are first in the state. This is really cutting edge stuff.
High technology moves Mid-South firefighters